Welcome everyone to the Insight series of Hyber. It's really great to have you. We'll just keep the room open for folks to join in. We're really happy to have everyone on the call. We already have our two guest speakers in already. We are waiting in for more people. So we'll just give a minute while people just settle in. The call is recorded. And today we're going to be talking about the 5 innovation focus areas to future-proof your business. Welcome everyone to Hyber's Insight session for February. Trust your week has been going pretty well and very, very productive as well. Part of the essence of our innovation series is to provide the tools, the mechanisms, the enablers that will allow leaders in various businesses and industries to solve whatever challenges or problems that they are facing. The Insight series from Hyber is a set of webinars. We do it once every month, third Wednesday of every month at 3 p.m. Lagos time. And we really want to inform our audience around using some basic innovation tools that will help them solve the different types of problems, which of course is really a lot in our time and age that we are facing in these days. So welcome again to the Insight series of Hyber. We're going to kick off right now on the minute. And I want to welcome us to February's edition of Hyber's Insight series. Today, I have two wonderful people in my midst that have come to grace the occasion. My name is Charles Oj. I am the Chief Executive Officer at Hyber. And with me, I have two very good friends. One is Peter Ekundayo, who was the former commercial director at Coca-Cola, and he's building a pretty cool company called Vendy. And secondly, I have Mr. Olusola Aromokun, who is the managing director of WebCoupers. We also go way back. We reconnected a while back ago, but we've been doing some stuff. Shola was when he was at Google, he ran our first boot camp in 2017 back then in Lagos. So welcome Peter, welcome Shola. Do you want to say hi?
Yeah, thanks Charles, and Shola, pleasure to meet you. Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here also.
Yeah,
great.
Mr.
Welcome
Peter. Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Hello everyone, glad to be here. Sorry to cut you, Mr. Phil.
No problem. As you can see, both guys are loaded. I brought them into the call mainly because of their backgrounds, especially in the innovation space. And as we'll see, innovation pretty much sounds like a buzzword, but it's really about solving problems. And both my two friends in the call today have solved many, many, many different types of problems. So we brought them into this call to basically talk about 2025, and they could also provide us with some tips that they are working on in really future-proofing their businesses. All right, so today is quite straightforward, nothing dramatic, it's not complex, it's very straightforward. We're going to spend about 30 minutes talking about this very nice topic, and then we'll open it up at the end of the session for Q&As. I'm sure people will have some questions as we go through the content. So feel free to jot down your questions, or you can even post them in the chat group, and we'll take them at the end of the call. So today we'll talk about why innovation is important. All right, we'll try and define what innovation really is. There are definitely some benefits as well, so we'll anchor on that. But the main reason for the call today, and which we'll be spending a lot of time, is talking about the 5 innovation focus areas. And we're going to go through these five pillars and talk about them, and then we'll take questions and answers from there. So let's dive in let's dive into this now. And we are starting with setting the context here. And as we all know, it is a very trying time that we are in. So many, so many moving parts, whether from a political side, whichever part of the continent you are on. Um, the big one here is the U.S. administration's changes that we are experiencing, and if we come back home in Nigeria, we are also experiencing a lot of things politically, which is creating a lot of shifts. Some of them are good, some of them are depending on which side of the table you are sitting in. But we do feel this move of change that is happening on the political side. On the environmental side, we're also seeing, stuff. I mean, you open the news and it's one issue or the other. Whether the recent fires that happened in California, or famines in sub-Saharan Africa, or floods in Asia. There's just a lot happening now with climate change, and that is also disrupting and affecting things. On the technology side, top of the list is AI. All right. I mean, DeepSeek came out a couple of weeks ago and really changed the narrative around, the cost of and speed in terms of building AI models. And we'll continue to see this, big shifts and major changes that AI will bring within the technology landscape that affects literally everything. So this is something that is happening. And on an economic standpoint, with inflation, with currency fluctuations, I mean, I'm sure most of us are feeling the pressure in our businesses. But I want to even shift and ask our guests, like, how is 2025 looking for you guys in the business? I want to start with Peter. Is it tough, and are you winning, Pete?
To say tough is an understatement. At the end of the day, we don't live in a vacuum. So everything that happens politically, socioeconomically, will eventually affect, the wallets that or the amount in people's pockets, which would indirectly affect businesses at the end. So if you think about Nigeria, when you look at last year into this year, the rising inflation, the currency devaluation, the implications for FDI and capital flow into the market, it obviously has affected the tech industry and our businesses. We've had to be mindful of costs. We've had to be careful with innovation as well, because it comes at a cost, and then we needed to manage our cash flows properly. But what it has done is has sort of pushed us to be more creative in how we try to solve those problems and focus on what is critical. We say less is more, because we can do everything, and be more mindful to what's important. Which when you think about it, the people or our people are the most important thing. How to keep them, engaged in times like this, where there might be uncertainty or just economic hardship, and then we've had to deal with that. And then even businesses are all making tough calls, so it makes you review your business model and ask, am I offering a solution that people really want, or it's a nice to have? In all, I like to see things balanced, right? So I see the good sides in this. It forces efficiency, it forces process improvement, and then make sure that we are doing what is just absolutely necessary and important, and not just what we want to do. And then we know that hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I mean, there's complete transition around the world, even with Trump coming in and all these policy changes. Some of them, we're touching wood on what the impact of those will be. So we're going through this cycle, and building the depth and strength in our organization to sustain the business to the point where things will turn. And when the policy changes that as a country we're currently undergoing start to yield the fruits, and then we want to be alive to be able to maximize them. I know for an established business, the narrative might be different, but we're all in the same market. So I think from a end user point of view, people are making tough choices in prioritizing what they spend their money on because of the rising cost of living, and that's a general impact that we see. So we're very cautious this year.
Thanks a lot, Peter. I mean, what I hear echo from what you said is we can't really like control the wind that hits us with all these different moving parts, whether politically, technologically, or economically. But one thing that we can do is choose our response. And I'm hearing from you the different responses that as a business you guys are taking in order to ensure that you remain stable and not only survive during this time, but you also win, and in part of that responsiveness is innovation, right? It's how do you even innovate in this time? And I want to just shift to Shola now, and even though what Shola is going to tell me is that yes, he's winning, but Shola, I want to even ask you, like, in responding with innovation itself, is it too fuzzy for people to do? Like, is it just a buzzword, or is it really too fuzzy? What are your take on that, and how are you winning in this time?
Yeah. So the thing about innovation, as why it feels like a buzzword, is because it's been overflogged. We've used it, every deck, every website landing page, even when we're talking about, the simplest things. When you're talking about caramel coated puff puff, you're like, oh, this is innovative, right? So it's been overflogged, it's too vague. And then because it's a cute word and has a trendy appeal, everybody uses it. But it's actually, if you focus at the core of it, if you focus on problems, you define the problems, you build a culture around, your internal processes, your people, and then you embrace change, and then you're creative enough. That's at the core of it. That's innovation, right? What problems are you trying to solve? Who are your customers? Who are your target audiences? How are you thinking about the future? And what are you doing for the now? So innovation is not just a buzzword, but it feels like a buzzword we've all used it, right? How we're thinking about change and what 2025 is like for us. For a consultancy like ours, it's easy to take the agentic, approach where you're like, oh, do you have a brief for us? What are we doing? Are we spending money for you? Are we reviewing software for you? We've changed the conversation to what are your plans for the year? And how are you thinking about the future, especially with AI, especially with loss of talent to Japa, for Nigerian businesses, especially with even over specialization is a real problem where you had, and I'll give you a creative person that can do front-end design before would potentially code back-end, even if it's like PHP, like WordPress, or like a Magento CMS or something, or Ruby on Rails. But now you have over specialization where somebody says, oh, I only do UI, they can't even do UX research, right? So that is real in the market because it affects budgets for projects and all those kind of things. So where a lot of companies that would have those seats in-house are now outsourcing to organizations like us. So we're not saying, oh, we're not putting talent together to solve this. We're asking you what you want to achieve for now, this year. And then how are you thinking about the future around talent, skills development for your team, for the business, for all the things you want to achieve? How are the changes going to even impact your business, going forward? Sorry, not admitted all calls. Yeah. Sorry about that. So that's how we're thinking about 2025. And we're getting a lot of exciting feedback when we take that approach where we're asking, what are your plans for the future, and what are your plans for today? And then even kind of like holding there for a couple of organizations, we're creating even AI policies. They don't know that they're going to use AI even, but we're creating AI policies for them just to have in case their transition gets to that. So it's a bit exciting, and then we're seeing certain clients, even private clients, that are spending heavily on certain products, and it gives me a hint that government is going to spend heavy in 2025, because a lot of them have like public leaning projects and then government leaning projects, and they're kind of big budgets. And then, so if you do your research, you find out, I think government is planning to spend more. I think they added over 4 trillion to the budget. So that's another thing to look at. While you're navigating socioeconomic, geopolitical shifts and all of that, where at the point between all the trepidation, all the anxiety, where there are opportunities, right? So those are that's how we're looking at some of these things internally.
Thank you so much, Shola. And thinking about business leaders or business owners or managers, it's always like, balls in the air. Like you're just trying to juggle so many things because different things are coming from, all directions. And you're trying to win at the end of the day, and you're trying to, meet the expectations of your customers, or to some point maintain some kind of edge. And innovation, like you've said, is becomes very, very important. And there are a couple of reasons why leaders should innovate in 2025. I mean, there's so many. We've put 4 on the screen, but I want to even ask both of you, like, for you, like, which one is the most important reason for you? Like, which of the reasons on the screen are you kind of like, would you really, really anchor on? Not that everything else is not important, but I just wanted to get your own pulse in terms of why leaders should innovate in 2025. Let me start with Peter.
So it's a tough one, because when you look at everything, they're equally important, even though they sort of feed into each other. I would say for me in tech, I would take competitive advantage as the key one, and this is the reason. Over time, two things happen. By design, innovation and increased efficiencies will drive down costs. And at some point, you cannot differentiate based on pricing any longer, because there might even be transactions that are 0 rated. There are a lot of solutions today that people use for free. So if you're not able to figure out how to give yourself the competitive edge, you will find out that you no longer have a business, because you stop being relevant in a sense, right? And you said this in the earlier sections when you were just trying to describe, the different factors. At Coca-Cola, we had a boss who used the term VUCA. And VUCA is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And it was a term that was used in the military, I think, in the Second World War. And that's the world we live in. So there is never a time where things will be stable. It will be some disaster or the other. It can be natural, human, economic, health, financial. There'll always be ambiguity. There'll always be uncertainty. There'll always be complexity and volatility. So it's a mindset, that I think one needs to have, to say, I need to constantly have the capacity to think about what to do differently. If not, I will get you'll get to lose whatever your business hold is on the market if you're no longer relevant. And we see this happen with, if you think about certain businesses no longer exist, you wonder why. You might boil it down to their inability to stay competitively attractive, or to have the advantage here.
Wow, it's very interesting. You mentioned competitive advantage, and even towards the end of your conversation, you were talking about people not just losing, but even dying. And I think that even sets the stage for my next slide. And I'm going to come back to you, Peter, very, very shortly. But I also want to hear from Shola. Now, so competitive advantage, Peter has highlighted that. What would it be for you, Shola, in terms of why leaders should focus on innovation in 2025 and beyond?
It's, for me, is the constant change, man. And I'll give you an example. Look at the AI landscape. You get $4 billion. You made some some announcements. We hit this benchmark. These are valuation now. And then the next hour, another organization or even a team, a research team, blows you out of the waters. What we're seeing now are the kind of the gains we're seeing, especially with technology, the gains we're seeing, and even what we're seeing on the political landscape, the kind of pronouncement from a Trump, just attacking countries on no basis. These are the kind of things that you would never imagine. And the changes are, how do you adapt quickly? As a business leader, okay, let me be very pointed with this example. We work with an organization that is in the energy space, right? And they were in Morocco They had negotiated this deal to supply gas, from the US because it made sense for them economically. And Trump says, "Oh, we're going to go back to shale. We're going to do this. We're going to do." And these guys are like, "You know what? While the pricing is still competitive, this is like Moroccan government. We will go to China because it's more stable for us." And that's how that business died. It was with the president to sign. It's not even they had gone way, and they didn't have a strategy for China because they were getting a lot of funding and grants from America, and they were leaning into the oh America first thing, or we'll get more money from Trump if this happens. And that totally impacts their business at that point. So that is the speed at which on the political, with technology, you would expect, okay, yeah, something might happen and it will adjust, right? But even with technology, see the changes, the rapid change, the constant change. But at the core of it for me and for organizations that will actually see this through is still people, policies, and systems, right? You have the right people, you invest in your people, you have the right policies, and you build the right systems, right? You're still focusing on your goals, you're focusing on why you're in business, it's not just a positioning statement that is fancy, like your vision, your mission, sometimes you see it on website, you're like, okay, nice, I'm just going to copy it and tweak it. But it actually helps you focus when they are in the world of like rapid change, So that's it really.
No, it's really, it's really interesting. We hit these two areas, both of you, and adapting to change and competitive advantage. And like you said, Shola, like the pace of change these days is just unprecedented. Like you start Monday thinking about something, and by the time you get to Monday next week, the assumptions that you made probably have shifted a little. Something comes up in the news, or something at the customer level happens, and the ability for companies to adapt is so critical. Like it's so critical, and we've seen many examples, and this is just one of them. For example, like Nokia, as big as Nokia, is or was. They got a bite of change, and they were not able to change in terms of where the market was going, and they lost their competitive advantage. And then even worse, they really went back a bit. And I think 2020, 2013 or so, they had to sell their mobile business, and Microsoft was buying, bought that business. And this is a statement the CEO of Nokia said, when they were, having the meeting for the acquisition. He said to his leadership team, we did nothing wrong, but somehow we lost. So when we look at our businesses today, and this change is happening around us, and we're not responding innovatively, there's a tendency we could end up with this statement at the end of the day, where you think you are doing all the right things, but you still lose. And that's why innovation becomes even more and more critical as we look at our times, and defining. I'm just taking a moment to let's define innovation a little bit. It's really a process. It's a process where, whether as individuals or as companies or as teams, we are introducing new ideas. We are introducing methods, products, or services that create some kind of value and drive significant improvements or advancements within our organizations, within our teams, within our markets, within our industries, within our countries, or what have you. So it's that introduction of the new, and the new doesn't mean it has to come from nowhere. All right, it's basically improvements. All right, it's taking something to the next level. All right, and I wanted to get some. What's your take on this, Peter? I mean, but your days back in Coca-Cola, like you might ask yourself, so what is there in Coca-Cola to even, reinvent? It's what are we innovating in Coca-Cola? But tell me, how does this definition just land in terms of what you guys did there back in the days? Was innovation a thing, or is it just like, let's just keep, shipping the product?
Nah, so it's a very interesting question, and it's interesting because when you think about traditional brick and mortar companies, the one might have that perception that if you have a winning formula, like we used to say when we were younger and playing table tennis, you say don't change a winning service. You have a winning formula. In fact, weirdly in Coca-Cola, some years ago, they did a formula change that created a negative spin because everybody says, no, this is not Coke. It doesn't taste like Coke. But when we think innovation from that lens, it's not just about the product. So, and then like Shola was saying, innovation can be seen as a buzzword. I think it's what the intention is. So you're thinking about how do I stay efficient from a cost point of view? How do I stay relevant from a consumer point of view? How do I stay in touch with the evolving technologies? How do I keep improving on my cost structure? How do I become mindful of my impact on the environment? What are the evolving trends with my stakeholders, competitors, and all of that? How do I become a company that is living a certain purpose? Because I don't want to just wake up one day and find out that I no longer have a business. But amongst that, also you need to think about the different customer segments, and you think about the total life of your product, because as a product, each new generation that comes will experience you differently, right? And then you need to be meaningful to them. For some people, like in Coca-Cola's world, what we are selling is nostalgia or childhood memories, but those childhood memories are maybe for a certain generation and will not apply to another generation which grew up with a different context. So as a company, I think what we did was really innovating how we went to market, right? We automated those processes. You think about the efficiency in the supply chain, how we buy, how we sell, those type of things was major. In terms of the processes internally, leveraging technology, things like AI, I'm sure is commonplace now to drive speed and to make sure that one captures all the knowledge that is available. So those are the things that we did. But the world itself is changing. When you think about, let's say, Nigeria 20 years ago and now, I was just reflecting, no mobile phones. How were people communicating? Today we do instant transfers. It was a dream. When we were in university, you want to do a transaction, you must go to the bank, right? So the question then is to say, what will be the case 20 years from now? Right. And then how are we sure that we stay relevant? So as Coke, I think even what we realized as a company was if we didn't do certain things right, people will not want to work for the company, because talent itself will only want to work in certain organizations where they believe that they will fulfill their own career aspirations and grow in a certain way. So if the company itself is not evolving, to stay attractive to the right kind of talent, then they will die by design. So we didn't have a choice, I would say, and I'll pause because of time. I could have spoken about my current reality, which is now in technology business, which is even more dire, but maybe in the course of the webinar, we might get there. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually, that even keys into the first focus area from an innovation standpoint, where we've in the course of this webinar, we've talked about the changes that are coming. And one of the things to focus on from an innovation standpoint is how quickly can you respond to these market changes or the opportunities that these changes present. And that brings us to this conversation of agile and flexible business models. And I want to even bring you back because I'm sure there are things on the Vendy side that you guys are, are adapting or responding, or you saw a particular opportunity in the market and you're responding to that opportunity, whether it's in terms of how you are positioning your value in front of your customers and what you are offering, or you are innovating around how you are delivering that value, that you have positioned, how you are delivering that value to the customer, or in terms of even how you are monetizing the value, right? How you are capturing the value from your customers. And I want to bring you back, Peter, to even talk a little bit about Vendy and how you guys have anchored on the business model side, even if it's specifying one example, whether it's on the delivering value to the customer or capturing value to the customer.
Okay, so I'll quickly share two pointers to that. So as a company, Vendy currently has solved for commerce for social commerce businesses end to end by creating a solution where within a WhatsApp chat, you can start and complete and pay and fulfill an end-to-end commerce experience. And it's quite seamless and intelligent. And what we would be replacing is today when you're ordering, either you're making a phone call or you're sending a chat to your merchant saying, okay, I want to buy food, or I want to buy hair, or I want to pay for an event, and wasting time going through that manually. We've put a solution that enables that to happen. But where I'm going is we didn't start out doing that. We started out initially saying that there is a lot of transactions happening offline, and there's a lot of communication that is also happening either via USSD or chat. And we said, can we leverage that communication channel to do commerce? That's what we initially started out. And we talked about it. We called it conversational commerce. And we were building something that would allow the same way you send the chats, people can make payments. And that's what we started out. But it was really focused on the offline market. And in the process of going through the product market fit and looking at other models, like if you think about M-Pesa in Kenya, we realized that two things were important. That one is it was very difficult to scale that solution because each market you go to is a different regulator, different telco provider, And the second reality was the pace of mobile penetration, the offline problem was going to only reduce. So whatever we were focused on was not the future. And we evolved that solution and by providence, because at the same time, Meta was making certain adjustments to the WhatsApp for business features that then helped us to create something for that social commerce, channel, and then we layered it on several others. And what we have done, if you think about it, is we then created a marketplace on WhatsApp that really is the marketplace, not where people were not really monetizing their business conversations within the channel. And then when they go out, it creates room for errors, risk, fraud, and the likes. But in channel, everything like with a unified payment interface that then makes it easy to pick value from anywhere. And I recommend you guys to go look for Vendy, VNDY, and then experience it. Why you've probably not heard of us is we just launched in October at the Moonshot, and now we're going through the whole market development and scaling. Now, the other thing we did was the business model. We initially had a transaction charge or commission on transaction business model that says as you do business, we take a percentage. But every player in that chain was squeezing. And then once you depend on the service provider, one day you wake up and you have nothing. And we thought, but we can provide other value. We can give you access to a dashboard. You can see your transaction flows. We can give you insights on your customers. We can create a channel for you to engage. Why don't we, create value where the merchants will subscribe to? And that's how. So now our model as a subscription model was the innovation that ensures that we could guarantee cash flows irrespective. So while the transactions are happening, and for the high transacting customers, that would be a plus. For the others, it even then forced us to not invest in merchants that we're not going to use as a service or solution. So those are the ways that I'll say we've been able to be agile and flexible in our business model, in our Vendy product solution. And it's been quite interesting seeing just in the space of the last 9 months, the level of iterations, change, innovation, and let's say sort of transformation that we've done on our product has been very interesting just off the back of that.
Oh, thank you so much, Peter. If there's one thing I'm taking away is we shouldn't be too glued or romantic with our initial ideas. You can start off with something, but it doesn't mean that's where it's going to end, right? you have to have that open-mindedness to be flexible as you move along and you adapt. And that's one thing, one message we have for our audience today. Agile and flexible business models are important, and you can innovate on the business model side. Because of time, let me move swiftly a little bit and come to Shola. And Shola, you talked something about digital earlier on in the call, and you also talked about AI as well. The second and third focus area that we are recommending, and this is actually coming from research. We've done extensive research to come up with these focus areas. One is digital transformation, and I know you've done a lot even during your days at Google on the digital transformation side of things as you are helping and educating clients around digital. The third one, which goes very well with the trend we see today, which is AI. But we are putting a twist here where we are looking at the human, the individual, the people, and we're saying, how do we add AI to that? So a human plus artificial intelligence, where you are combining human actions or human needs and using AI as a tool for either improving productivity or increasing speed or generating some types of outcomes. So I want to get your thoughts in terms of, in your business, how are you guys applying digital transformation and AI as well, and where are you innovating in these two areas?
Yeah, thank you. So there are two ways I would like to answer the question. One, for us internally at WebCoupers as a consultancy, and then for all the businesses that are our clients and how we're helping them navigate, right? So I'm going to start with our clients. When we work with our clients, we wear a couple of skins, B2B, B2B2C, because they're talking to consumers, and then B2B to B2B in some instances, right? So we have to almost like, you know how you empathize with, we have to be in their shoes, basically, and then to map their customer journey, and then even their own internal processes, right? An SME that wants us to build a website, that wants us to do marketing, if their internal processes do not match what you've built for them, it's a failure. Or customers are at the door, they've made orders are not being delivered. If it's a service business, you know, is their customer journey too long? So we don't just build solutions, we also get them to think, you know, to be customer centric. And then also businesses get stuck on data. Oh, we're data driven. Yes, the data exists, but most times data speaks to the past, right? You still need to be creative towards the future. Sometimes, you know, there's experience, there's gut feeling, and then you put, you know, data driven decision making. And then being agile is also not about, you know, cramming agile frameworks in your head and being able to use the buzzword. It's actually being agile across all your processes. Internally, externally, you want to talk to internal customers. Like here, we call everybody internal customers because there are other things we need to fulfill for happiness and all of that. So being agile is across all of that. Then the tech integration. You have Google Calendar, you have Calendly, you have that. You don't use it to schedule your meetings internally, externally. You're dropping the ball because you couldn't even remember you had a call with a client or you needed to be someplace. Or you're paying, you have licenses you're paying for the then process automation. You know, initially I talked about people, policies, and systems. You know, process automation, which part of the daily activities internally are being automated, right? And how often do you audit those processes? So when you've perfected this for yourself, it's easy to now advise clients, oh, you know what, we've seen this, we've checked, you know, the challenges with this. In fact, there might not be challenges now, but you can see it because you have experience. You're like, if we don't put this process in place, you hit a snag at this point. That's to talk about digital transformation. So basically, think of digital transformation as today's needs and tomorrow's magic. And in between, be customer-centric, use data-driven decision-making, but please don't rely too much on data because data actually speaks to what has already happened. The true magic in what's in today and the future is between data-driven decision-making your gut feeling is there because of experience. The agile tech integration, we have a budget, we have $10,000. Do you really need the tech? How does it fit into your processes? And then process automation and then skills development for your people internally. It's very important. Skills development considered, I don't know, for different people, for different organizations, you have quarterly review. When you're reviewing performance, also review skills development. What skills do we need for now? What skills do we need for the future to operate and deliver value? As per AI, I really like what you've done with human and AI, because for me, I didn't want to invest my time in AI. I'm very nerdy about tech and marketing. But I was like, for the world to hit, for AI to hit ubiquity, certain things need to happen. It's too expensive now to build, but the rapid transition that happened in the last 9 months has been totally crazy. And I like to joke that the European Union is a gatekeeper. All they do is wait for the rest of the world to innovate, and then they find everybody, right? But I'm seeing how important the European Union is for the human angle. We saw it with GDPR, and now we're seeing it with AI. And they're already working on the most encompassing laws for AI regulation, not just regulation, like just safeguarding the future, especially the displacement that is going to happen with humans, right? It's not just jobs, it extends to social, it extends to economic, you can see now, like in America, you're seeing all of the tech founders, you're seeing all of the tech innovators being embedded with government. It's unprecedented. And a lot of things can happen where, the regulators are embedded with the people they should regulate. And it's not just being in bed like, oh, they're relaxing the law. It is now you come and work on the regulation yourself. So the human angle is very, very important for AI, because the constant change, the rapid change, if we neglect the people part of it, we're going towards Armageddon. So the human angle for me is in skills development. It's also in I don't want to call it empathy, because I don't want to talk about our business like a human being, right? Because while AI can accelerate innovation and increase efficiency, productivity, it's all of these things, all of these talking points around accelerated innovation, efficiency, productivity comes at a cost, right? We're talking about agent AI. Agent AI can easily replace like 50% of most businesses, the workforce. But then what happens to the people? How are we thinking about that? These are conversations that happen in silos, that happen, with some NGOs and all that. But it's not loud enough. What happens? What will the world be like? For a country like Nigeria, where we consume technology, and over the last 5 years, we've seen a lot of local startups, build for the country, build for the world. But what is going to happen is that when we hit ubiquity, we're just going to pay for these services, and then all of our struggles go away, right? Oh, I'm struggling to develop talent. I'm struggling to make talent stay. I'm just going to be like, oh, you know what? I can deploy these agent services to work, for my clients, and I'm good. But then the human part, what happens? So it's a conversation that should happen, but it should be loud enough.
Absolutely. I'm very happy with the way you've actually taken the questions, because you've even touched on number 4 and number 5. And to summarize what I'm getting from what you said, one is we need as businesses, we need to look at our processes, from whether it's product to customers, or even from the activities we even do to generate those products, those processes, those activities. Like, what is the journey like for our customer? What is the journey to our customer? And where can we digitize? All right. Where can we automate? Where can we drive efficiencies and productivity? In some of these activities, where does AI now come in? And when we look at AI, we think of it as a tool. So for example, in Hyber, we do a lot of research, all right? And in doing that research, we've asked ourselves, how can we do it faster? So we look at AI and say, can we use Gemini? Can we use ChatGPT? Can we use Perplexity? These AI tools. And research that probably would have taken me 2 days to do, I'll probably do it in 2 hours. All right. So that is me as a person, human, taking an AI tool. I'm still thinking it through. I'm still guiding and directing, but I'm using AI to accelerate my own productivity. Now, this upgrade or this kind of behavior, whether it is automating your processes, whether it is digitizing those customer journeys, those interactions between the business and the market and the customer, you would need to upgrade your talent. You would need to upgrade yourself as a leader. You would need to upgrade your teams. So talent upskilling is the 5th area, and a very, very important area that we think businesses should really be looking at. So I want to really thank Peter and Shola for their time and sharing these insights. These are the 5 recommended innovation focus areas we are putting out here. Building agile and flexible business models. We can innovate around the business model. We can use digital. We can improve our processes. We can drive more efficiencies in our activities. We can add human and AI together. We can bring in artificial intelligence tools, deploy that to our teams so that their own productivities can go up. We can go deeper with the customer and innovate around the customer when we look at their needs. And to achieve 1, 2, 3, and 4, I think the foundation is improving talent. How are we upskilling our talent? So my question to the audience, and Jed is going to just throw in a poll as we wrap up this webinar. Which is most important to you? All right, which is most important to you out of this 5? Which is one of these 5 focus areas that you can just you can start with, you can start from? So she's just going to post a link on the channel, and you can just pick which of these 5 focus areas are important to you. And here in Hyper, we want to really provide tools. We want to provide enablers that can help you innovate. And we're going to be sharing over the next course of the webinars that we'll be having on a monthly basis, different elements of these tools. We are also, you can also ask yourself, like, what's my innovation capability today? As a team, as an individual. So if you want to know, feel free to request for this complimentary service, which is free of charge. So you can scan the QR code and sign up for that service. And someone from my team will definitely reach out to you and share with you a simple tool that you can use to basically just check. We can check the level of your capability of innovation and where you can improve. And then finally, I'm sure most of us would have some questions. The conversation doesn't end here. Feel free to join. We just set up this community. Feel free to join this community. We'll be sharing even the slides for this call. We'll be sharing it in that community. We'll be sharing tools like Flywheel from different kinds of tools and insights that can really help you along the way. So we're just getting to the end of the session now, and I just want to thank everyone for joining the call. Please sign up in the community, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them there, and we will carry on with the conversation. But my departing message is, let's solve the big problems of 2025 and beyond. It's not a straight path, all right? And you'll definitely need a partner. And even as an innovation leader, we can join you in solving some of these problems. I want to thank Peter and Shola for taking out their time and sharing their useful insights with us today. And I want to thank everyone that have joined this session. And I look forward to seeing you in the chat room on WhatsApp and taking any of your questions and also sharing the tools that we have for you. Thanks everyone for joining, and do have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks, Charles. Thanks everyone, and have a good evening as well.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Shola. All right. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.